This is Maurice Jones-Drew, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, UCLA, fight.
You're listening to the What's Bruin Show, part of the What's Bruin Show network, with your hosts, Jake Merrifield, Bill Shirley, Jamaal Artis, and Mike Regalado, bringing you anything and everything UCLA sports. And now, it's time for the What's Bruin Show.
Well, hello, and welcome to What's Bruin. I'm your host, Jake Merrifield, and we're here right after we just did the last show. It got too long, so we split it in two. So thank you once again for listening. If you didn't catch it, the show just previous to this in the feed is the game that was San Diego State University. Me and Mike talk about that and the fallout from that game. The Bruins' great win, 35-7, over the San Diego State Aztecs. And also, Bill and I did a post-game, the show prior to that. That's also in your feed. If you haven't listened to that, listen to that again. Listen to that, please. And then we also talked about the game that will be against NC Central coming up here at 2 o'clock on Saturday at the Rose Bowl. So, if you want to hear about the game that was or the game that will be, listen to the last episode in your feed. This show today will be some listener feedback and then some Pac-12 talk with Jamaal. This is, of course, the What's Bruin Symposium on the What's Bruin Show network. Thank you very much for your support. You can subscribe at patreon.com/What's Bruin Show or just what'sbruinshow.com for just $2 a month, or on Substack, what'sbruin.substack.com. You can also subscribe there, and we get some articles and different things going for you on there. There's a lot of pictures. And you can also email us, what'sbruinshow@gmail.com, or on the Twitter at What's Bruin Show, along with all the other great shows on this feed, The Bare Minimum, the UCLA B Team, West Coast Bias, which is on hiatus right now, but it'll come back at some point. You can get the show on YouTube. Just search WBS or What's Bruin Show, and it should come up. And also, you can get merch, What's Bruin Show Network merch, available at our MyLocker site. I apologize, it's a long link, mylocker.net/shops/what's-bruin, but that link is also in the show notes. So if you want to go get some cool What's Bruin merch with a bunch of different designs, you pick the clothes you want to wear, slap it on whatever you want, go to the MyLocker site. Thank you once again for your support. We have some hotline calls that were left over from after the postgame. They didn't make it quite in time for the postgame, but we'll get to them now. And, of course, the hotline number is 805-399-4WBS, Sacramento and Troy. You can also comment on any of our Substack entries, which every podcast we do, it's a Substack article, so you can comment on there. And also, you can send us an email, what'sbruinshow@gmail.com. And also, you can tweet us. We already had a tweet from Desmond that we answered. Or was that on the Slack or on the tweet?
That was on the Slack.
Okay, on the Slack. So, yeah. And, of course, if you subscribe on the Patreon or on the What's Bruin Show Substack, you will get access to the Slack channel. And that's probably the most direct way you can ask us questions. Mike, do we have any other Slack questions?
No.
Or Twitter questions?
Twitter, not a question, but a statement from
a statement.
From who is this? Jolly Red Giant 94 says Dante
Quite a
Moore is
handle.
the future, hands down. The future looks bright. # Go Bruins.
So bright, we got to wear shades. Right?
I love that song.
In a separate topic off the Slack channel, Dave, designer of all the logos for the What's Bruin Show, came in on a separate channel that's just for our TV talk. Jake, watch this show talk. And he agrees with me that Dave Filoni's Star Wars is wonderful, and that Episode 5 of Ahsoka, even though I haven't watched that particular episode yet, is the best. And couldn't agree with you more, Dave. I love all the non-movie Star Wars stuff of the last 10 years has been the coolest Star Wars stuff that there is. Mikey.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, have you been watching any of that stuff, dude?
I haven't seen Ahsoka yet.
Gotta watch it.
Kind of wanted to do that in bursts. I am a fan of the binge watching. So the week to week, I'm just like, okay, I have to wait till next week. So I'm trying to watch it all at the same time. Doing the same thing with Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Reservation Dogs, bro.
Same deal.
Reservation Dogs.
I haven't seen
that
that
show
one.
is genius.
Haven't seen that one on purpose
Genius.
either. Yeah.
All right, we do have some voicemails from the last game and leading up to this podcast, so let's get to those right now. First one is from Mike in Santa Clarita, so let's get to it. Thank you very much, Mike, and let's hear it.
Hey, What's Bruin Show? This is Mike from Santa Clarita, calling Sunday morning. Hey, yesterday was fun. I think yesterday was a great game in the sense that it was nice to have a dominant performance on the field by our team. It was nice to see just a great touch that Dante has throwing, and just his good presence on the field in terms of his vision and being able to read defenses. I was super encouraged by that. And it was nice just to have a great turnout, in San Diego. But it was great to have a great turnout for fans. And I wouldn't quite say it was a UCLA takeover, but we traveled very well. So I was super encouraged on all fronts. It was just a really fun game. Our defense deserves its props. They allowed about 250 yards of offense while taking the ball away 3 times and sacking their QB, I think, with 10 tackles for losses or something like that. That's wonderful. Like, the fact that you're able to put those numbers up, that is just praiseworthy. I don't think, based off of how things turned out yesterday and some of the upsets that went down, I'm not sure if we're going to be ranked heading into this next week. And I'm okay with that because I'd love to just fly under the radar as long as possible, see this team play and mesh, and maybe do something special down the line. But anyway, 2-0 feels great, and look forward to next week. Go Bruins.
Yeah, go Bruins indeed. And yeah, I kind of was with you. I wasn't really expecting them to get ranked just because there were so many other teams that had big wins. But I'm okay with them getting ranked, but I wouldn't have minded them not getting ranked either. And just kind of what you're saying, I'd like them to be under the radar as long as possible. But now, now that they are, then it's going to be cool seeing a top 25 matchup against the Utes. Mike, there was quite a few San Diego State fans, San Diego State. There were a lot of Bruin fans down there. Yeah. And the whole corner was filled up, of course. It's not the biggest stadium, out there in the country. Yeah. But there was a big Bruin presence, and every time the Bruins made a big play, it was
very vocal.
Yeah, it did. And by the end of the game, the San Diego State crowd was bailing out of there, and it was a takeover by the end. I will say that. Quite a bit of fun there. It was lovely.
Nice.
Good. Next call. I think it's from good old Nancy.
Hi, guys. This is Nancy. It was at the game last night and thoroughly enjoyed it every minute except getting into the stadium, which was total chaos and made me appreciate the Rose Bowl so much. Beyond that, I thought the offense was great. I thought Schlee did okay. Was a pleasant surprise. Too bad Yankoff fumbled. Otherwise, Dante was the star we know he's going to be. Running backs were great. Wide receivers were on their money. And I thought the defense, especially that goal line stand, was just remarkable. Anyway, talked to Joe while I was there, but meanwhile, it was hard to see anybody else in the big sea of blue and gold that attended the game. Bye-bye.
A lot of fun. Thank you very much, Nancy. And yeah, it's funny. Me and Bill didn't have any sort of bad experience getting into the game at all. We just had to, we just kind of wandered right in. But you could see how there's potential there for it to be kind of a zoo, because it was kind of like they had the weird kind of metal detectors that aren't really metal detectors, and the people that were actually guiding us through didn't seem like they were totally on the ball. So I could see if it got backed up at all, that would be kind of a mess. But and I did also see them sending away people that had like purses that were slightly too big. But I will say this about the old Jack Murph, which is now Snapdragon Stadium. Having a stadium that was only like 30,000 seats on a place that used to house like a 60,000 person stadium, the parking was very nice and ample, and you didn't really have to walk that far. So I did like that. But I'm sorry you had a bad time getting into the stadium, but it was a heck of a game. And it's fun because I actually saw a few people there. A couple coworkers were out there down there with the Bruins. Nice. I saw one of my old lawyer buddies that I hadn't talked to in a while, Mr. Anthony Rayburn. Very good to see him. So that was pretty cool. Pretty fun experience. And me and Bill had a great time. We got, let's see, who else we got here?
Hey, this is Alex from Inglewood, calling back again. Wanted to do back-to-back weeks, keep the streak alive. I just want to give a little background, actually. So I've actually been a long-time listener for quite a while. I don't even know how many years. I think the first time I ever listened to you guys, it's been on and off. But the first time was, so I went to a music festival, and this is during the back when game against Washington State, and then somehow we scored at the end, and then there was a minute left. So I'm over at this music festival trying really hard to get service. I had no service whatsoever. So I saw that play happen on the ESPN tracker that, Rosen scores a touchdown at the end pretty much. And then I wasn't able to get any more service to try and see what happened. So I just turned off my phone. 1 a.m., I turn it back. I go and try and get some highlights from YouTube. And then I watch and see that we lose at the end. So, being a Bruin fan, I love just hanging out with other people in misery. So I used to be on the bro boards at the time. I've stopped for a while, but I would just love to hop on, and I found this podcast. So I was like, you know what, let me hear what these guys have to say about what the fuck just happened. I just want to hear people, it brings me a lot of comfort to hear other people complain about the shit I hate. So it worked out.
I'm going to stop here for a second and just say, number one, Alex, thank you very much for calling, and thank you very much for listening, as sporadically as it may have been. We appreciate you, and no one feels your pain as much as we do as far as watching the Bruins come up just a little bit short. That Mike Leach game, that Rosen game was literally, God, I hate that game so much because Rosen came back and won the game, and then all of a sudden he didn't because Mike Leach went down the field in like 3 plays and they scored, and then I was at the Rose Bowl and just like going, oh my God, what happened? Yeah. But just in honor of that moment and in honor of how we all feel when the Bruins give up a bad game, let's play Sometimes It's Hard to Be a Bruin in honor of you, Alex.
Sometimes it's hard to be a Bruin. Giving all your love to just one team.
And, of course, we play that when the Bruins come up a little bit short. Hopefully we won't have to play that very much this year. But let's go on with what Alex had to say, because he had to say a lot.
It worked out. So as for the game, I feel really vindicated from last week. Like Dante Moore, literally, he's that dude. And just let's just keep it going. I've never seen a dude this young look this poised and have the talent to back it up, because I feel like every UCLA quarterback that I can remember, I'd say in the last 15 years, it's either one or the other. We either got someone talented who kind of just loses their shit or just kind of freaks out, or we have someone with all this poise and grit and all this crap and just can't make the throws or just can't put it all together. And this guy already, I know it's San Diego State, but I just seen something different in this dude. Like, even when he scores, even when he threw that 40-yard bomb down the seam, like, he just kind of looked back and just said, okay, that's exactly what should happen. Like, he didn't let anything take control of him. So, I don't know. I really feel like this dude's different. And seeing Colin Schlee also was really cool, because that dude is fucking fast as hell. I can't believe he's that big, too. It's just...
And Alex cut off right there, and then he actually called back again and got himself going one more time. So let's get to that one real quick and see what Alex continued to go on to say. Once again, thank you for your call.
Sorry, my crap got cut off. I went way too long. I don't know if this is even going to make it to the episode now, because it's probably all choppy and crappy. But anyway, great game.
Not crappy at all.
Defense teed off on these fuckers. They this reminds me of that crop of dudes like when Morris started. And it was like Cassius Marsh, Zumwalt, Kendricks, Barr, like just a bunch of big dudes who just love to tee off on fuckers. And that's what I saw. Like, these guys just like to get at it. And I feel like we haven't seen that at all since those guys. Hopefully that ends a little better, because that defense was a little leaky. Well, anyway, so next week we got North Carolina, whatever. I don't even know who we have next week, some trash-ass team. But it was just a great game to watch. And go Bruins. Looking forward to what you guys have to say.
No, Alex, I couldn't agree with you more about the take on the defense. As far as, like I said it earlier,
Did not hold back.
No, he did not. But yeah, dudes, it is very reminiscent of the Mora defense those first couple years, and dude just is like wanting to run around and just hit people, and I love it, and it really makes me fall in love with this defense this year. I don't know if they're going to finish statistically where they are right now. Like, this is probably as good as the statistics are going to be, but still, if they're running around hitting fools, I'm going to like them, and that's definitely warming my heart. So, Alex, thank you for the call. By all means, understand that it cuts off at 3 minutes, but you got the green light as well as anybody else. The hotline, 805-399-4WBS. Sucker and Troy. And, thank you so much for your calls. Let's get on to some Pac-12 talk with Jamaal. All right, well, before we get out of here, I do want to do some Pac-12 talk because, this is the greatest and worst moment in Pac-12 history pretty much, because they have literally the greatest on-field accomplishments they've had as far as for a week two, after a post-week two, the best as they've ever been, and yet it's the last that we'll ever see of them. So it's Pac-12. It's goofy. It's crazy. It's fun. And we're going to bring Jamaal on right now. Jamaal, live from Arizona. How are you doing, brother?
Good. Big 12 country over here.
Yeah, I know, right? It's insane, man.
I was in LA this weekend, and that's Big 10 country.
That's right. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Jamaal, job's going well?
Job's going well so far, yes. Thank you.
Well adjusted.
Everything's good.
So
far, yeah.
I'm glad everything's good except for
California, here we come.
We're just going to start with my Golden Bears, your Golden Bears, because Megan went to the game. She was there. She was excited. She saw some Auburn fans. She saw people yelling "War Eagle." She saw her team, your team, our team, the Golden Bears, take it, control the game, at least for a half, and really should have won the game but for some miscues and an injury to superstar Jaden Ott. But what's your take on that debacle up there at Memorial Stadium? How do you feel about it coming out?
I mean, I feel like she got the whole experience, right? Hope from the week before, hope for about 3.5 quarters, and then have it just pull the rug out from under you, or the football like Lucy and Charlie Brown. So she definitely got the whole experience. That's what being a Cal alum is when it comes to big-time sports, and especially this football team.
Well, I mean, but you had to feel good at least for a week when you had that big score coming out in week one, and then
of course
everybody's like, you had a drone. Apparently, you had a sick drone show at the stadium at halftime, and then it all went kind of downhill from there.
Yeah, it was weirdly drone show at the Pac-12 games, because there was a drone show at the Coliseum for USC, and there was a drone show for Cal at halftime too.
Mike, did you see pictures of that?
I saw the USC one. That looked cool. I didn't see the Cal one. I did not know about that.
I mean, crazy. once you do the drone shows in one place, you've kind of seen it.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. Anyway, so how many ways did Cal have to win this game that they just didn't? Because I mean, they were like missing field goals all over the place. They weren't cashing in on the points when they needed them, and then at the end, it just kind of went away for them, right?
Well, this was the Cal from last year. This is the problem, right? This is the offense that went from setting a record and having this sort of this sort of renaissance of their offense. They got this new OC. It's Spedabal. Well, it's not new, but he was coming back after being with the team in 2016. They're running all over North Texas State or North Texas. You think they can replicate it again, and it's their first home game, and they laid an egg basically. I mean, they immediately get the ball. They got a fumble on the first possession, and in Auburn territory. They should have probably gotten a touchdown there. I don't know what the refs were looking at. I think that's probably the reason that they lost. They should have had 7 points from the beginning. And then the defense was doing so great. They only got a field. They didn't even get a field goal in that first possession. And then they couldn't do anything with the second possession, which was on like a botch punt or something like that from Auburn. I mean, it was just like everything was there for them to really take a stranglehold of the game, and it just never happened. And yeah, their kicker missed 3 field goals. He only made 1. And that was pretty much the margin of error, made it worse and worse as the game went along. And then, when they needed a stop, I mean, the problem is they made so many great stops on defense that when they needed one more stop, they couldn't get it. They're down, and then Jaden now gets hurt, and they can't get that last touchdown. So.
Yeah, and that was rough when he got hurt, man. He did a somersault in the air or a flip in the air, like landed straight on his head.
Yeah, concussion protocol basically,
Yeah,
and I don't know if he's going to be in the next game. They don't really need him. They're playing Idaho.
Well, that's what I was going to say. At the very least, man, Cal football is going to be 2-1 going into the conference opener versus Washington, and then you figure they're probably going to be 2-2 after that. But you never know.
No, they'll be 2-2.
Who knows? You never know. Yeah, probably. But hey, I mean, that's better than you thought they'd be, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, after North Texas, I thought they'd beat North Texas. The Auburn game, I had predicted a loss, but it sucks because they look so much better than Auburn, especially on defense.
It just sucks to give that one away, yeah.
Yeah, because they had so many chances where they could have easily won the game, and they could have won the game going away. It's like if they just execute on offense on their first two possessions, they're up by 2 touchdowns. They only need one more score and a field goal, and they're completely win this one going away because the defense was doing such a great job, and it just sucks.
Well, at the very least, even though Mike and I did not enjoy this one bit whatsoever, at the very least, Cal lost in brutal fashion, but at least they didn't get absolutely curb stomped. The curb stomping of all curb stomping.
Suck it, Stanford.
Stanford was down 49-3 at the half. That was it was just disgusting.
Painful.
A disgusting display of football.
They benched Caleb, not benched, but they took him out in like the third, I think after
Jackson
2
Dart
series
played, a quarter and 1 3/4 quarters, yeah. It was just sick.
It's crazy.
No, and we were all thinking, well, maybe Stanford's actually decent. It turns out probably not. So I mean,
no,
at least
that's how bad Hawaii is, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. So I mean, because I was getting kind of worried that in the Pac-12 schedule, whether you're talking about you and Cal and your schedule you have to deal with, but for the Bruins, this is the first year in a while that they actually get to dodge Washington and Oregon unless they play in the title game, which is nice. But at the same time, all the competition in the Pac-12 got elevated. So it's like we thought that ASU was going to be a gimme. It still looks like it might be. We thought Stanford was definitely a gimme. It looks like that might be. But Cal is better. Washington State is better. Oregon State's obviously better. So it's like, and then Arizona is going to be like a toss-up there too. So it's
UCLA is a strength of schedule. It's getting stronger. It's freaking getting stronger, and that's the thing too. Going from week 1 to week 2, after week 1, a lot of programs were pumping their chests, especially every Pac-12 team as they went 13-0 through two weeks.
Yeah,
we definitely saw the land settle a little bit more. With obviously the Cal losing to Auburn, Arizona losing.
But they still pushed. Arizona they lost to Mississippi State, but they lost at Mississippi State in overtime.
Exactly.
Cal. No, I don't think anybody's really begrudging Cal except for the sad Cal fans, right? The sad Cal fans are going.
No, they put up a fight.
But nationally, Cal actually was like, well, they almost beat Auburn, So
well, here's what I was getting at with the shift. Remember last week when you were talking about how UCLA was an underdog to Cal way early beforehand. It was 51 to 49%. Oh, I have it right here.
Oh, you do? Okay, good.
UCLA is now favored 58.2% and Cal 41.8%. So
look at that, Jamaal.
So
we got 9 percentage points on your ass.
Well, yes, that's kind of what I said.
So things are settling
last week.
We say
no, exactly. We were the same. We're like, let's just calm down with these predictions right now.
Yeah, Jamaal.
At least 3 weeks ahead, not 3 months.
Yeah, it's okay. But the whole reason I brought on, I wanted to talk, Pac-12 talk. I did want to talk about the Bears. I knew Jamaal wanted to talk about the Bears. But I mean, really close, near, dear to my heart is my second favorite team in the Pac-12 of all time. And I don't know. I mean, who knows? If the Bruins go south, then maybe I'll take them as my number 1 team. Neon Dion, they, as expected, kicked the crap out of Nebraska. It was kind of
It was close for about a half.
Well, it was
almost
actually
a half.
And if Nebraska wasn't so goddamn incompetent,
oh my God,
absolutely brutal.
Their quarterback, I forget his name, but he they said on the broadcast he's the active player that has the most turnovers in his
their quarterback
career.
Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah.
And sure enough, fumbles, interceptions. It was just horrible.
Jamaal, did you watch any of that game?
Oh, I did actually. I was able to watch. It was Camille, my daughter's 8th birthday.
Let's go, Camille!
Woohoo!
Yeah, so we had to go to the party, but I watched it all the way up until they took the lead there after the second half. And yeah, I mean, they had Wu-Tang Clan there. I think the Buffs won them in the racial
Watch your
draft.
step, kid. Yeah.
I mean, they stepped on their neck, right?
Yeah. Protect your neck.
Colorado Buffs ain't nothing to with.
Yeah, exactly.
Colorado Buffs ain't nothing to with.
This is the thing, though. Like,
I mean, it's just like it just makes it so much entertaining. Who cares who they're playing? I just want to see who else is going to show up to.
Did you see the TV
cheer
numbers?
For Coach Prime.
Did you see the TV numbers yet? So West Coast something or other published a thing for like all the West Coast teams and how they did ratings wise. In so every the top team other than Colorado was like, I want to say like 3.2 million viewers. Okay. Colorado was 16.9 million viewers. Like it went 16.9 and then it dropped all the way down to like 3, and then like UCLA was like 2.2 or whatever because they had the 2 nationally televised games. But it's like, yeah, it is like peak. Like nobody even cares about the Broncos right now in Denver, which is crazy because they got the Nuggets who won the title and they got Neon Dion. So like I said, I have never done as quick of a 180 on a team as I did this one. But I mean, I'm all Colorado sway now. But I will say this, and going back to how bad Nebraska is, not only was that guy a turnover machine, but on defense, like they literally sacked Shedeur Sanders like 6 times in the first half, right? Because they were actually like sending 4, 5, 6 guys, and they were getting to
They were confusing
every
them.
time.
They did a good job defensively, yeah.
But for like a quarter, and then they started inexplicably, like they dropped 8. Okay, did not pressure him, and even though they dropped 8, he was still like completing long passes over the top on them. It's like you shouldn't if you're going to drop 8. You shouldn't be getting beat way over the top.
Yeah.
And yet they did that repeatedly instead of keeping going after him. And even though I love my Buffs, I do think that bodes well for the other teams in the Pac-12 when they match up against the Buffs. Anybody that can generate any sort of consistent pass rush, like he was running for his life at points. And if Nebraska could capitalize on that, there's another play they ran where they basically had they blitzed they sold out on a blitz for everybody, but then they decided not to cover anybody on the back end. They had everybody like 20 yards back in a line. It was just the dumbest thing I've ever seen as far as like schematically what they were trying to do after they had a lot of success early. It was just so dumb. Anyways, Joel, you were saying something.
I was just going to say something about our Colorado Buffs. The only thing that does worry me is
our Colorado Buffs.
They are our Colorado Buffs.
Not mine.
The penalties.
Not Mike's, but they're ours.
Not you. Not mine.
The penalties. I think that hurt them against TCU because TCU was a better team, but against Nebraska it didn't. But they had 9 penalties, and one that sticks out in my mind was I think it was Shedeur Sanders scramble, and he gets a first down sliding, and the Nebraska player stupidly went down and tapped him, and immediately, I mean, it's great that this guy was sticking up for his team, but one of the O-linemen just jumped up and started, not swinging, but getting in the guy right in front of the ref and stuff like that, and the ref's trying to hold him back, and it's just like they had a bunch of dumb mistakes that they were doing.
And by the way, if you're part of the porous, terrible, can't block to run for shit Colorado line, which we all knew they were not going to be very good, like, if you've already let your quarterback almost get murdered, like, you DOS protest too much when you like really go after the guy fiercely. It's like you should be punching yourself in the face, right? Oh, stupid me, because their line is like crap, and they are not going to be they're averaging like 2 yards a rush or something ridiculous. So, look, they are magical, and I'm totally on board. But I think that they're going to be 3-0. And then we'll see what goes on after that once they get into the Pac-12 play. They're definitely going to win. They've already won more than I thought they'd win. I thought they were going to be an absolute bye week for the Bruins, just because of that, because of how bad they are in between the tackles. But, that's going to be a super lit game. And I do have breaking news about the Colorado game. Mike, you will be very interested to hear this.
What's brewing? News.
Breaking news.
On a weekly basis.
News just in.
Our friend and sometimes co-host, Bill Shirley, is going to the Colorado game. He already bought his tickets.
Really?
He will be in attendance. So that is a giant
It's going to be a big game.
That means he's going to be at least 2 UCLA games. And, by the way, this is an even bigger upset. he actually. Well, oh wait, actually, no, I bought the tickets for San Diego, but he actually, he paid for part of the road trip, and he paid for, he actually has spent money. He will have spent money to go to not one but 2 UCLA football games in the 2023 season. That's a great victory for
America,
for fandom everywhere, right? That Bill is
And
committed.
one on the road too. Wow.
Yeah, one on the road, and we had a great time. You should have been there, Jamaal. But
I listened to the CarCast.
he is, yeah, and I'm coming to Arizona. Mike, are you going to Arizona? Possibly, yeah.
That's in October, right?
Yes.
Yep.
October.
Maybe.
So Jamaal, me and you at least, or me, you, and Mike are going to have to do a post game show for the Arizona.
Yes.
Game.
All right. Cool.
I will pick you up at the airport.
We'll see. I might be driving. We'll see. I'll have to see what I'm doing. But that might cost
November
me
4th. November 4th.
All right, bro.
Oh, plenty of time. Yeah.
Okay. I think. Did you have any more? Let's see. Let me look at these games real quick, because there's nothing on the schedule.
Well, I was just gonna say Arizona. Unfortunately, they made the comeback. They lost in overtime, but ASU got whooped, and so that means the Big 12 Arizona schools are what? They're the 1 and 2 now. Or
You know what? They're
right?
going
Yeah,
in.
they're 1 and 2.
They're going to go into the Big 12 and be. I think they're just going to be mediocre teams. Colorado and Utah are going in there to wreck shop. I think especially if unless Dion decides to depart. But they're going to have so much momentum. They're going to go in there and they're going to recruit like crazy. And then Utah's just Utah. So I mean,
yeah.
I think they're going to go in there and win the freaking Big 12 straight up. Like that'll be pretty interesting.
I was gonna say though, now that I live in a college town, it's kind of funny to
Yeah, how was that, by the way?
On sports radio, it is about Arizona. I mean, leading up to the opening week, it was all about the 25th anniversary of the Fiesta Bowl, Arizona 1998 team, which is considered the greatest football Arizona Wildcats team. They're already talking about what they got to do for Arizona basketball to be better and that kind of stuff with losing all the players that they lost. It's weird. It's not like you wake up and it's Lakers, Cowboys, Dodgers, or whatever. It is a college town.
That's crazy.
When it comes to the sports scene.
How do they feel about the Diamondbacks over there?
About the what?
Diamondbacks.
About the Diamondbacks? It's kind of they're kind of contending. We didn't expect it this year.
No fun.
They'll be better next year. So.
Okay. Well, yeah. No, that's got to be fun. That's got to be fun, even if it is stupid Arizona and your college fans are those dicks from Tucson. But whatever. Week 3 really is a weak-ass week as far as cross college football, but especially for the Pac-12.
Utterly horrible.
Yeah. I mean, the Bruins are taking on a FCS team. We already talked about that.
USC has a bye.
Even
Stanford has a potential win. I think they're playing Sac State or something like that.
Yeah,
they are playing Sac State.
That's the Hornets, right? Isn't that the Hornets?
Yes,
I think it's the Hornets.
That's the Hornets.
We'll see. They're at the farm. Arizona State has a chance to get upset by Fresno State. That they could be embarrassed there. But other than that, the best game on the schedule is probably Washington at the Michigan State. Harassers, the Michigan State Harassers.
Yeah.
Mel Tuckerless. By the way, has there ever been a more stupid thing than the Mel Tucker? How Mel Tucker gets himself fired? That is just mind-boggling. I mean, everybody's been talking about it, so we won't belabor it. But literally, you got yourself fired and probably cost yourself millions of dollars for trying to hook up with the lady that comes to the school and lectures about getting harassed by football players and coaches. Even if
compliance officer,
even if she's
smart.
coming on to you, how do you not just have a giant stop sign every time you look at her, right?
Yeah.
Some people just can't help themselves.
Yeah, it's
like trying to hit on a cop to get out of a ticket or something.
God. It's like trying to hit on a cop that you just saw beat somebody up that hit on a cop, right? I mean, it's it's even worse than that, right? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The sheer stupidity of that.
Yeah. Dear God.
Yeah, there's a lot of it going on.
You're the head coach of Michigan State, and you have $80 million, you can't you can't resist that. I mean,
you're the highest employee of the state. The highest paid employee of the state. It's ridiculous.
Literally unbelievable. Like, you can't write this shit, and that's why life is so amazing, because you literally, if you wrote that down in a book, everybody would say, "Oh, that's just stupid. Like, that couldn't happen."
That's
that
a dumb Tyler Perry movie.
yeah, it's like yeah, exactly. That's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a Netflix special in 5 years.
Oh, good God. The California is going to get a win with the Vandals, and then the only other game I think that was mildly interesting was for Bruin fans is we get to see how San Diego State looks a week later up against another team that supposedly has a pretty tough defense, and they're on the road up at Oregon State. So we'll see how the Beavers look against the Bruins' opponent from this week.
Nice beaver.
So will they be nice Beavers, or go ahead, Mike?
Oh, I was going to say this weekend. Pretty weak. It's standard wins across the board. It looks like, at least for the Pac-12, for the majority of the nation too. But the week after,
that's when it's going to get lit.
Oh my! It's the start of Pac-12. The Pac-12 actually already started with USC and Stanford, but the next week is going to be like the first big weekend for Pac-12 football. And just as an example, UCLA at Utah. I think Colorado's at Oregon. It's just going to be just a nutty weekend. So, So
Great.
Maybe it's a good thing that there are a lot of good, lesser games, I guess, this weekend, because the weekend after, man, it's going to be tough. We're going to go from 0 to 60 real quick. So.
Yeah, and while I got Jamaal here, we might as well do Eye on the Enemy real quick as we look ahead to Week 4 at the Bruins' Week 4 opponent.
The enemy.
Of course, Week 4 is when when the conference season starts, as Mike just said, and the Bruins have a huge, tough road game that nobody's going to expect them to win. But if they can win the game, it will really set them off on a really nice spot. But it is the Utah Utes. It's at Utah. Not a place where we're expecting the Bruins to have a lot of success. But the Utes are not fully operational yet, as they kind of escaped with a win at Baylor. I heard that game was just absolutely...
It was hard to watch, first half.
It was hard to watch, and it was hard to be there, too. Apparently, it was like 130 degrees on the field, and players' cleats were melting. But they seemed to, while they're still waiting for Rison to come back, it seems like they kind of figured out their quarterback situation a little bit. Bryson Barnes is no more. Now they got Nate Johnson out there. He kind of finished the game and looked pretty decent. And then they have Jaquindon Jackson running the ball a lot, either as a Wildcat or as their main back. So the main consideration is going to be like whether Cam Rising is fully operational or not. I think the Bruins' chances to win that game obviously go up if it is still what's the guy's name I just said, Nate Johnson at quarterback.
Yeah.
If it's Cam Rising, that's a whole different story. But it's like there's a question.
Well, is it though? Because even if he's cleared, is he going to be 100%? Is he going to be up to snuff? Is he going to be in game shape?
What they're talking about in Utah is whether or not he should play in the Weber State game. Like, should he play a half, get the rest off, and see if he's fully operational, or should he just take that game off, get more rest, and just come out firing against the Bruins? I think I would rather him have his first action against the Bruins.
Yeah.
But
if you're a Ute fan, you want him to at least get some in-game, get a little in-game experience, because you don't want him to come in totally cold, rusty against UCLA, because they're going to be much better than Weber State.
You would think so. It was funny listening to some of the Utah broadcasters. One of the former players was like, I'd rather just sit him against Weber State because he's going to get better practice reps and better adjustments just playing against the Utah defense than he will against Weber State, which I thought was actually a semi-decent point. It's not like they're playing, a big-time opponent, and you're just kind of risking him to injury. But I still, in thinking about it, I think I still side on what you're saying, Jamaal. If I'm a Utah fan, I'd like to see him at least, get a couple snaps in that aren't with Liatu Latu and the rest of the guys trying to chase him down. But I'm curious to see how that works out. But the Bruins, that's the first kind of pivot point of the season. Presumably by that point we're not going to be screwing around with what personnel's playing. They'll get that all locked in they probably have it locked in already. I don't think the game this weekend is going to be determinative of anything. And I'm not just talking about the quarterback. I'm talking about the offensive line where they played 12 guys. They played a bunch of running backs. All these things.
Sure.
So I guess we'll have to see, but that's going to be a huge game. And I was telling people on the post game, I was telling people on the Mallcast this week. UCLA is way under the radar right now, right? But that's the game where. That's the week where all the national broadcasters are going to be talking about the Bruins. That's a big week, like Mike said, across college football. Mm-hmm. But UCLA at Utah is one of those big games. So especially it's going to be like a top. Like Utah will probably be right around the top 10, and UCLA probably will move up a couple spots this week. Maybe not because there's such a shitty slate.
And there isn't even a line for UCLA.
And there shouldn't be. As we said,
you're going to bet the over of negative 75.
They could jump up one if there was some big upset somewhere around the top.
but it's probably going to be like a top 10ish team going up against a top 20ish team, which is a pretty big matchup. So we'll see how that goes. But that's when like I said, that's when all the focus will turn to the Bruins, and I'm hoping that. I'm hoping the Bruins can just take care of business this week, which they will obviously. But and then a big effort against Utah will be pretty freaking nice.
Well, you never know. I mean, Chip might have a run the wishbone with all three quarterbacks or something.
I mean, yeah. Well, if there's a time to do it, but that's going to be interesting. Like that big game against Utah, and I bet he is pulling out a bunch of stops against that game. But we'll talk about that more next week for sure. All right. Well, Jamaal, this has been fantastic. It's good seeing you as always. Why don't we just get to what's brewing with you?
What's brewing with you? You ask me. What's brewing with me? Yeah. What's brewing with you? What's brewing with me? What's brewing with you?
Jamaal, what is brewing with you, my man?
I don't want to turn this into a weekly Arizona musings, but it might be for a little while because I'm still getting used to living here versus just visiting. So we moved down here in the hottest month, August, but also it's this weird monsoon phenomenon. I don't know if you guys know about that or the listeners know about that.
Yeah.
So basically it's hot as hell, and then it becomes really humid because these crazy rains come in from the south, and it's just it'll rain cats and dogs for 30 minutes. You'll have these crazy lightning strikes that go vertical, that go horizontal. There's lightning shooting up north and then south, but there's no rain. It's weird weather phenomenon that I've known all my life, but it still takes some getting used to when you're here. So the thing is, it gets so the waters come here. It's a little drier in other spots. It's drier up in the foothills. So then the animals start to come down. So there's an animal native to Arizona, southern Arizona. It's called a javelina. So picture a warthog without any tusks, and that's what you get. Looks like the Tasmanian devil's American cousin.
Crazy.
They're really aggressive. You're not supposed to even approach them. We don't, obviously. I've seen one on the highway, but the other day it was raining.
Wait, was it a commercial where they're singing Hakuna Matata, crossing the street?
Yeah, but that's what he thought he was doing. Actually, he was by the casino, so I think he was gonna go put money on the Bruins.
Nice.
So it rained. I went out to get something from my car. It was in the middle of the day, and it sort of just poured, and then it stopped. And I went and got something. We had the garage door open, and I hear a little rustling on the ground, and I think to myself, it's our neighbor has a cat and a cat door. He was kind of hanging out on our patio, so I just went to go look, make sure he didn't go into the garage. I take one step, and I see it's a gigantic freaking javelina on my driveway.
Oh shoot!
And I just ran inside, and I hit the garage door.
Help me!
Yeah, and so the garage door closes. He didn't even come in. I think he would have approached me if I had approached him, but since I ran like a chicken shit, he just kind of went out onto our sidewalk area, and then out into the street. And these guys, they don't care. A car is trying to get by, a big old SUV, and he's just standing in the middle road. He doesn't care. and they're honking the horn, and then you finally leave. And I was just like, oh my God, where did I move? We've got warthogs in the front. It's raining cats and dogs. So yeah, so that was what was brewing with me on a one Arizona day.
That's crazy, bro. Mikey, what's brewing with you?
I don't know. I haven't done much. Just exhausted, really. I did have something, and I'm blanking.
All right, well, I will step in real quick then. What's wrong with me while Mike's thinking of his?
Mm-hmm.
It was a fun weekend over the weekend with Brother Bill, and we went down to San Diego, and I think I said a little bit on the CarCast or whatever, the post-game show. But
the audio pod?
Yeah, exactly. The Gas Lamp is a cool place to be. I love going to San Diego. It's just that when I lived in Riverside, we go to San Diego a lot more. And now living up here, up in the Northwest Valley, it's always so much easier to go to Santa Barbara. But with that being said, every time I go down to San Diego, I'm like, man, I should come down here more. And we had some really good food at a Cuban place called Havana 1920. And a very extensive rum menu that was, Bill didn't want to drink any of that because the rum's got a little too much sugar in it for him, but had a couple nice cocktails as well. But just a good time with Bill, and as I said on the Mallcast that you can listen to if you're a subscriber on Patreon or Substack. Thank you very much for the subscribers. But it was a trip driving through Riverside with Bill because, even though we didn't meet until we got to UCLA, but we both grew up in Riverside, and just kind of comparing notes on the different sites and stuff as we drove from, through, Temecula and then Elsinore and then into Riverside City, and so it was good stuff. So it was a lot of fun. But that's what's brewing me. I had a nice weekend, and I'm looking forward to the other two Bruin road trips I'm going to take this year, which is going to be the Arizona game and the Stanford game, which is going to be pretty fun. Huh? What's up, Jamaal?
I said, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And suck at Stanford.
Suck at Stanford.
Mikey?
Yeah, no, got nothing.
That's okay.
Drawing a blank right now. I'm like, what the hell have I been doing?
Mike hasn't had enough beer yet. Usually he doesn't get his What's Brewing until he's got like 3 in him. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But Mike's busy.
My elbow's been hurting a lot lately, so that's crazy. And it especially hurts at night. Like I wake up in the middle of the night because it's like I lie on it wrong or something like that.
Interesting.
Sheer pain. So there's that.
Well, good job, Mike.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I hope that heals up for you.
Seriously.
Thank you.
No more Fight Club, Mike. No
That's
more
right.
Fight Club.
No more Fight Club.
Damn it. All right. I am getting older.
Thank you very much for listening, everybody. Thanks, Jamaal,
It is
for
birth
hopping
month.
on. Oh, yeah, we're almost there.
So annoying.
Yeah, it's
so annoying.
my birthday, then Bill's, or Mike's, my birthday, then Mike's birthday, then Bill's birthday.
We
Y'all
also
are
have
getting a lot of.
And then
my
Super
buddy
Plum's birthday.
Amanda, my buddy Mikey and Al, the twins, their
It was
birthday
just Bob Colt's
Saturday.
birthday.
My friend's Cynthia's birthday. Who else? There's so many freaking goddamn September birthdays.
New Year babies.
Yeah.
Our parents all got busy on New Year's.
My uncle, rest in peace, his birthday was last week. My friend Sarah was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Just everywhere.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you guys
all these
prickly pear gummies or something.
Oh my.
Very nice,
all these parents that are getting freaky around New Year's, It is 9 months later.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, trying to think. My daughter was born September 7th.
At 3 months.
There we go. All right. Well, thank you for listening. And if you got it would be great if you could all set a timer, a reminder on your phone to review the show on Apple Podcasts every 90 days or so, and just give us a nice review. That would help us out tremendously. Call the hotline 805-399-4WBS.
WBS.
Sucker Troy. Thank you, Jamaal. And that's right. And if you'd like to subscribe and listen to the Mallcast or join us on Slack, that's on Patreon and on the Substack. And Jamaal, you had something else?
I was going to say, as a dedicated Patreon subscriber, I sure would like to hear West Coast Bias again.
Me too, Jamaal. That would be great. Maybe we can work on that, especially now that the Rams are 1-0 unexpectedly. Yeah. So
Go Birds.
That's right.
Rams house.
Whose house? Rams house. Yes.
Oh, really quick last minute. I actually picked a fantasy team.
Mike, you did?
Yeah.
What?
Goddamn got Kirk Cousins.
Oh.
That's all that was but I got.
You like that?
Yeah.
Who's in your league?
I like it's just one of those free ESPN ones. Just because I've never done it, and all you effers are
so you don't
talking
know
about all the time.
So you don't know anybody else?
No.
Oh,
I just joined a free one, just so I can kind of get used to it.
land.
I figure, especially after covering college sports for nearly a decade now. I know most of the people in the NFL now, whereas I really didn't when I first started getting into sports media and stuff like that. So now I'm kind of familiar with it, and I looked, I was like, wow, I got the Jets defense. And when I first saw that, I was like, oh, crap. I saw the game last night. I was like, holy crap, they're doing well.
Yeah, they literally won the game, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like,
guess who had
I got some
Aaron
points.
Rodgers as
I got
his
some
backup?
points.
Good job, Joel. Well, at least he wasn't starting for you. All right.
No, I started Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, me too. It was rough.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers told the trainers, no, don't look at my leg. I'm going to get an opinion from Joe Rogan. Do you think that happened at all? At all? Do you think any? No.
Hey,
no?
You never know with these Butte College graduates.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
All right. No more fantasy talk. Guys,
All right.
Thank you very much. And we will do a post-game show after the NC Central game, which the Bruins will win handily. Let's get out to the Rose Bowl, celebrate the Bruins, celebrate the NC Central Screaming Eagles, and HBCUs, and what's that?
Black Appreciation.
Black Appreciation. Yeah.
Game.
So, Jamaal, we appreciate you. We appreciate Bill.
Half of you.
Yeah.
Half of me.
Yeah. All of Bill and half of you.
1% of me. Senegal for life.
And let's enjoy the game this week. And we'll come back at the post game, and then we'll talk to you next week. So until then, go Bruins.
Good evening.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
That was the What's Bruin show.
Try us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's got to be in or out, Mom. In or out. Well, I need the door closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Dude, bro, we play some ball on the West Coast.
The final word is boob.